Chapter 10, Marketing Research Using Social Media. Now, we all know about social media when it comes to promoting or talking with your customers. But actually, social media can be a great way to do market research. So in today's chapter, we're going to discuss the advantages offered by social media market research versus traditional market research, demonstrate several applications of social media market research, explain how one takes the key quantitative and qualitative measurements, and discuss the caveats associated with social media market research. So let's get started. So social media market research versus traditional market research. While multiple techniques have been developed over the years to improve both market research methods and inferences, three key problems have remained. Conducting market research is expensive. Think about that. Think about putting together focus groups or putting together interviews, doing polling, surveying. It's gotten quite expensive out there. Generated data is often discrete and intrusive. So generating data is very, very difficult and very expensive. That's what makes social media so attractive, because it's free to a certain point. So, what is social media market research? Well, we can measure brand sentiment, basically, whether a person feels strongly positively or negatively about something, and compare it with our competitors. We can measure campaign outcomes, and we can identify key advantages and weaknesses based on people talking and conversing in the social media space. Brand sentiment usually has a lot to do with somebody feeling either negative or neutral or positive towards a certain item or product or company. This is an example of what a brand sentiment chart may look like. There's all sorts of different brand sentiment charts out there, but usually it's shown on a scale. Here's another brand sentiment chart where it shows the iPad versus Nook and the Kindle. Here's another sentiment chart. This time, the sentiment chart is showing how people feel about certain keywords. So again, you can either examine certain products, services, and even words associated with product or service. So identifying key advantages and weaknesses. So we can dig pretty deep into emotional sentiment around the brand. Here's an example of Adidas that uses a brand watch statistical classifier. And if you want to learn more about the brand watch statistic calculator, take a look at it. It's a pretty intense way of looking at not just positive and negative sentiment towards a product, but it looks at things like anger, disgust, fear, joy, sadness, and surprise. So think about how the public feels towards your brand or subject or product. Positive or negative? Let's take it a step further. This looks even deeper. Pretty amazing, huh? Providers of social media market research. There's free ones out there. Actually, Google Alerts and Social Mention are things that we use quite often at the agency. And I'll show you how to use Social Mention. So just go to socialmention.com and look up a certain term or a certain a word. Let's take a look at Donald Trump. Let's see how he's trending. There's a 4-to-1 sentiment, 4 positive to every 1 negative post out there and mentions about Donald Trump. So while he may be shown as losing the current election race, if you look out on social mentions, he's actually showing a 4-to-1 positive trending. 24 positive posts here, 6 negative, so roughly a 4-to-1, right? 57% of the comments that are out there are passionate, which is no surprise considering that election information is quite passionate. Here's some top keywords associated with him. Top users, top hashtags, and the top sources. So this tool can help you monitor your sentiment. Some caveats of market research using social media. Sentiment scoring and related natural language processing, otherwise known as NLP, aren't perfect, especially in today's age where sarcasm is used quite often. These software systems can't tell if somebody's being sarcastic or actual authentic. For instance, I was late on a United flight, and I showed a picture of my arrival time and my next flight time, which was a half an hour late, and I said, "Real nice." Again, I meant it sarcastic, but a sentiment bot would take that as positive. Also, marketers don't know much about the sample, if anything at all, making that comment. And those talking might be an extremely vocal minority. It also only works best for large, well-known consumer-facing brands that are being talked about on social space. And technology can sometimes be behind social monitoring when it comes to using keywords, which can also be contaminated. So that's it on Chapter 10, using social marketing for market research.